This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not substitute for professional medical advice. Please seek a medical professional or healthcare provider if you're seeking any medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Thanks, everyone.
Anyway, so only 25% of moms in the US report quote unquote excellent mental health, marking an alarming decline. Are we shocked? No, we're not shocked at all. So by A. Taylor Thomas and DMPH, May 27, 2025, on Good Morning America. A massive survey of nearly 190,000 mothers finds that those who rate their mental health as excellent slid from 38% in 2016 to just 26% in 2023. That's a 30% plunge that started before the pandemic and hasn't let up. Physical health scores sank as well. Okay. What the researchers did, they analyzed annual CDC phone survey data from 2016 to 2023. They tracked self-reported mental and physical health grades as excellent, very good, good, fair, and poor. And then they flagged a 64% jump in mothers labeling their overall health as fair/poor. And you kind of know, at least in my opinion, fair is kind of just poor.
Yeah.
You're just trying to like, exactly. And then I don't even want to imagine what poor actually is for a mom, like self-reporting it at least. Anyway, so who's hurting the most? Single moms, younger moms, and those with less education, and mothers of multiracial or publicly insured kids saw the steepest drop-offs, evidence that stress gaps widens when support systems are thin. I mean, it takes a village, and that saying is a saying for a reason. Why it ripples through families? Well, because poor maternal mental health is tied to higher risk of complications in pregnancy, slower child development, and long-term health problems for kids. Pediatricians warn that mom's mood is pediatric care, as well. So if she's drowning, the whole household is treading water. The bigger conversation in this, the U.S. Surgeon General already flagged parental stress as a public health priority in 2024, urging policies that extend well beyond the postpartum window, paid leave, affordable child care, easy access counseling, and stigma-free check-ins at every pediatric visit, which is something that you had said several episodes ago, that moms don't go to their own visits. It sometimes comes down to you as a pediatrician to be like, well, how are you?
Ask the mom, all the time. There was a study, I forgot the actual percentage, and I can look up the study and tag it here, but there was a study showing so every time a mom with no complications from the hospital postpartum, her postpartum checkup is supposed to be 6 weeks, right? There was a study showing that the percentage of moms actually showing up to their postpartum visit, which is important, 6 weeks, not even 1 to 2 weeks, 6 weeks. I'll see you in a month and a little bit.
Well, 2 months almost,
Yeah, almost 2 months, okay? They would not show up. So a bunch of these moms were getting missed for postpartum depression and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's why now in pediatric offices, we administer the postpartum depression checklist for moms.
Smart.
Because we see them at 2 weeks, we see them at 1 month.
All the time,
so they won't miss their kids' appointments, but they won't show up to their 6-week follow-up, which is their first appointment.
And it has to do with childcare too and all that, you know? How are you going to go to your doctor's office sometimes and you have like a newborn and nobody to help you with the newborn, you know?
Yep.
So what's a take home for all of us? Mom's oxygen mask goes on first, at least it should. This data screams for broader social scaffolding and quick to reach mental health tools, because when mothers' well-being slides, kids and communities skid right behind them.
Yep.
Moms are important, guys, and we seem to forget this. And obviously the data is showing that it's a problem.
Yep. All right, so this one is kind of gross. So toxic pesticide levels found in tampons 40 times higher than the legal limit of for water. It's
what the and we're sticking this in our bodies.
Yeah. Well, there's been a huge movement, which we'll talk about a little bit more, by Helena Horton on May 28th, 2025. So a new UK lab reports that they found glyphosate, the same herbicide sprayed on driveways and GMO cornfields inside supermarket tampons at 0.004 mgs per kg,
Yay.
roughly 40 times the legal ceiling for drinking water.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what the tester actually did. So 3 health advocacy groups bought 15 popular tampon brands and screened them for glyphosate plus its breakdown product AMPA. So one box ringed the loudest alarm, but authors say any detection is troubling because when you put a tampon, right, the vaginal walls are going to absorb all of that, and it's going to absorb all of those chemicals straight into the bloodstream, skipping the liver's detox filter. Okay.
You're sticking this in your body.
Yep. Why it matters, the WHO Cancer's arm classifies glyphosate as probably carcinogenic. Emerging research also hints at links to Parkinson's and other chronic diseases. Cotton is among the most pesticide-soaked crops on Earth. Up to 300 different chemicals can actually show up in its journey, and like from literal field to shelf. So tampons put that residue in direct contact with some of the body's thinnest mucosal areas and membranes. And there you go. Regulation vacuum.
There's freaking chemicals everywhere.
Yeah. Despite earlier studies finding heavy metals and PFAS in period products, the UK has no specific chemical safety rules for tampons or pads. Campaigners are pressing for mandatory testing and fast-track plan to detox the entire product line. The government elsewhere are much further ahead. What's the bigger picture? Glyphosates fingerprints are everywhere, from food to water to the parks. The tampon finding is another red flag in a growing debate over whether weed killer should be banned in non-farm settings altogether. Yeah. So environmental scientists also warn of its impact on bee colonies and aquatic life, which is just a part of another total ecosystem.
Yeah, it's
completely different, but can actually impact us as well.
The bees go, we go.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Like, aquatic life too.
Exactly, of course.
Yeah.
But it's just like people like say, "Oh, it's just a bee." No. The bees go, we are. Okay. Well, anyway.
So take home for everyone listening: until the regular step in, consumers can reduce exposure by choosing unscented or unbleached certified organic period products, and by asking brands for lab data in the same way that we now demand nutritional facts on everything. If a chemical isn't safe to sip, then maybe it shouldn't sit in an absorbent part of the body either.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why a lot of people push now for the menstrual cups and for all of these different things.
I can't do the menstrual cup though.
Have you tried it?
No, but I can't.
Why?
Because I can't.
It's like a tampon.
But it collects your blood.
Like a tampon.
But at least the tampon is not gonna like spill out. Like
It's not gonna spill out. You're not like a faucet down there. I've never tried a menstrual cup. I don't share the same, because a lot of people are like, "Oh no, that's super crazy."
no, I don't think it's crazy. I just know myself that it's not gonna end well for me.
I still use tampons, but at the end of the day, like, I feel like I should
Yeah.
just switch over to a menstrual cup. Or buy the non-bleached, unscented.
That's what I've been doing. I've just been buying like that one.
I have not. I'm
Those
literally
ones.
probably buying the one that they found like the most glyphosate in it. I don't know.
I'm not gonna say names, but probably the one that rhymes with Schwalways. Maybe maybe that brand, which I use too, and it's a cotton one because the other one it hurts.
Oh no, wait, I don't use that. I use Cora, which is I think.
Oh, I think it's one of the
I
good
think
ones.
it's one of the
yeah.
good ones.
There
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go.
I made the switch to Cora a long time ago because this whole entire
Yeah, no, I mean, this is not
debacle
the
has
first-
been going on for a really long time.
This is not the first time. This is not the
Yes.
first time. You know what's crazy about these things is that they want to use women as incubators, but then they're like stuffing us with these chemicals right where we're incubating.
Yeah,
Make that
because
make
there's
any
no
sense.
funding. There's no funding.
Yeah, but there's funding to keep an incubator on.
Yep.
Make that make sense. Like it just doesn't. Anyway, the next one. Common sugar substitute may affect brain and blood vessel health. Sugar is also the devil, as we've known. By Kelsey Costa, MSRDN, on May 3rd, 2025, on Medical News Today. A lab study out of the University of Colorado Boulder says that the amount of
Erythritol.
Okay, I was kind of on this. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In a single sugar-free drink can crank up oxidative stress in human brain vessel cells by almost 100% and cut their nitric nitric oxide output, which is key for healthy blood flow. In plain English, in short, do not, even if you're doing like the keto diet or whatever, and then you're using these supposedly like sugar-free things to sweeten up your stuff, you might be doing pretty bad stuff to your blood vessels by doing
and
so.
also like erythritol is also it causes a lot of GI upset and
pretty
things
bad,
like
yeah.
that. However, I have noticed that there's been an uptick on the whole entire cardiovascular side effects of erythritol.
Interesting.
So I'm wondering if there's more cases
Well,
being
this is vessels,
reported. Yeah,
so-
exactly. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like kind of cardiovascular in
Yeah.
a sense.
What the researchers actually did, they soaked human brain artery cells in
Erythritol.
bath equal to about 30 grams. So it's like a hit of one energy drink. I'm literally having one right now.
Yes.
For 3 hours. What they measured was that the reactive oxygen species shot way up. Antioxidant enzymes scrambled to cope, and nitric oxide production sagged. All are early warning lights for clotting and poor circulation, unfortunately. Obviously, why does this matter? Because previous clinical work already linked to high blood erythritol. Did I say it right?
Yep.
Okay, good. To heart attack and stroke risk. This cell data shows a possible, how does this happen? The sweetener seems to jam the vessels, relax, and dilate signals while showering them in free radical shrapnel. Yeah,
Shrapnel?
shrapnel.
What's shrapnel?
Shrapnel is not dirt. It's like the scraps.
Oh.
That's it. So free radical scraps.
Okay.
The combo could choke off brain blood flow over time, unfortunately. So the reality check behind the study is that this is petri dish science, right? And cells are not people. So the doses match what humans drink, and the cellular damage lines up with earlier patient studies. The findings landed at the 2025 American Physiology Summit and will move to peer review soon. But the takeaway here is that the 0 calorie doesn't mean 0 impact. So if you lean on sugar, alcohol, sweeteners, so sugar-free, all of those things, especially with heart or stroke risk in your chart, consider swapping that for fizzy, fake sugar fix, or plain seltzer stevia, which you like, or good, just old-fashioned water. Your brain vessels might thank you later.
Yeah. Yeah, the erythritol is definitely having a moment in the news.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been seeing like a lot more, and especially specifically because before it used to be like GI upset. Give you ate too much with erythritol in
Yeah.
it, it would make you have like stomach issues. But now it's people have like vascular disease or history. Doctors are talking to them about maybe they have a comorbidity of obesity and things like that.
Yeah.
If they're telling them to eat healthier, they need to maybe advise staying away from erythritol.
Yeah.
Because it's in everything. It's
It is.
it's one of the most common alternatives. So I tend to do more of the plant-based,
Yeah, like stevia.
like stevia or monk fruit, something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it takes a little bit to get used to the taste, but
Yeah. Definitely.
or you could just do normal sugar and just control the amount.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you can literally do that. All right. So vitamin D supplements may show aging by preserving telomere. Oh, slow aging. I was like, did you hear me? I'm like, aging.
And you're like, shit.
I was like, what? Sorry, guys. Vitamin D supplementation may slow down aging by preserving telomere length. This is by Jessica Freeborn on May 28th, and this was on Medical News Today. A fresh look at data from the big VITAL trial. So for those of you that don't know what the VITAL trial is, it's this huge ongoing trial trying to assess that if people take vitamin D3 and omega-3s on a regular basis, are later on in life going to have reduction of the risk of developing cardiovascular disease, stroke, or heart attack, right?
Yeah.
It was heart attack.
Yeah.
So that's what the whole entire trial. So when we mentioned the VITAL trial, this is what they are kind of talking about. A fresh look at that data from the big VITAL trial suggests that 2,000 international units of vitamin D3 a day kept protective tips on those chromosomes on the telomeres, right? Think of telomeres like a shoelace, that's your DNA, and the telomeres are those plastic caps at the end that keeps your DNA from fraying, okay? Anytime that your DNA frays, then it's kind of like auto destruct and self destruct, and then that is what leads to this pattern of like aging. Basically, if you take this, it's saying that it protected, like the telomeres stayed protected, and that would give you like an equivalent of 3 years of life.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So how the team tested the idea is about 1,000 volunteers from the Vital trial. From like the Vital trial had 25,000 people. 1,000 of those people volunteered to give their blood over 4 years. Half swallowed a daily vitamin D pill, and the rest got placebo. The telomere length was measured in white blood cells at years 0, 2, and 4. This is what they found. The placebo group, right? So the group that didn't take the vitamin D, the telomeres actually shortened noticeably. And then the vitamin D group barely budged. So they kind of stayed the same. Omega-3 capsules also tested, which was part of that the Vital trial, and did nothing for the telomeres. Now, here's just before you start taking vitamin D. The benefits showed...
Because I was ready. I was like,
yeah, I'm ready.
Amazon, we know.
Yeah, the benefits showed up only in blood cells. We don't know if heart, brain, skin cells get the same perk. That's part of that ongoing trial. Most volunteers were white and already older, so results might not mirror the younger or diverse crowds. That also would be a question. And then the telomere length is a marker. It's not a guarantee for a longer life. So, but anyways.
Okay, yeah.
Hitting the recommended goal of 600 to 800 units of vitamin D through sunlight fortified by foods, modest supplements is sensible for bones and immunity. I always like stress the immune part about it. This study hints at an extra anti-aging bonus, but it's early days. Mega doses can backfire and damage the kidneys as well, so just be careful. Until bigger trials prove real-world benefits, think of vitamin D as it's probably good to have. Not a magic time machine, but you should probably be taking it. And can I tell you that a lot of people out there are low in vitamin D?
Yep.
Like even people in Miami. Everyone here in Miami is like, no, it's so hot. We always get sun. Why is it? You're the person that's going to be vitamin D. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you underestimate like how much you should be out, but then that's the thing. Then people don't want to be out because when it's hot,
yeah.
It's also like the skin cancer thing, whatever. So it's like it's hard.
No, just people don't get out.
Yeah, you're always indoors.
You're always indoors. Yeah,
either home or work, office, whatever, name it. So
Exactly.
Kids in schools, all that stuff. So anyway, next up, good news actually. GLP-1s treat and even reverse some forms of liver disease. What can it not do?
Yeah.
But
let me tell you, we haven't included some of those studies that are coming out with like the blindness, which is like something crazy.
For Ozempic, specifically semaglutide.
Yes, but still, it's like a GLP-1.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, for sure.
Right. So I'm just saying, like, I know that like we talk a lot about the good stuff about GLP-1s because there's a lot of good stuff.
We mentioned it in one of the recaps.
I don't think we mentioned the.
Are you sure?
blindness. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we did.
But
I don't know.
yes.
I'll have to check. Anyway. So this one's by Sarah Novak on May 29, 2025 on Medscape. Doctors have long relied on diet and exercise to tackle MASH, which is a fatty liver condition formerly called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So this is when people like are not alcoholics, but then yet they're encountering liver disease. That's that. Now, a raft of studies says that the blockbuster weight loss drug that mimics the gut hormone, the GLP-1, like think of Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, all that, may do more than shrink waistlines. They can actually clear fat from the liver, calm inflammation, and even soften early scarring. Liver damage, let's just say, from any form can cause scarring, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Not like skin scarring.
So when you're overweight, it's like when you're overweight, you're likely to have high cholesterol and high triglycerides. When you have high cholesterol and high triglycerides, the body cannot have that in its bloodstream, right? So it's going to deposit it somewhere. One of the primary organs where you see that deposition is going to be in the liver. That's what's called fatty liver disease. Now, when you're an alcoholic, you can have fatty liver disease from something completely different. But when it's non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, it is most likely secondary to obesity and high cholesterol, high triglycerides most of the time. That's why we call it the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Obviously, if you're going to start a GLP-1, you are going to eat less. You're most likely going to have reversal of your cholesterol and hypertriglyceridemia. Then now your body is actually going to start clearing all of that fat that was deposited onto the liver.
Yeah.
So what happens is that when you have fat in those livers, then then your ALT, AST, which are the enzymes to your liver, they kind of start getting elevated, right? Because your liver is not functioning properly. It cannot function with all of the fat that is on it from the deposition. Basically, what's going to happen is that you are going to have some sort of scarring. That's why a lot of people now do the scan, the liver scan, the fiber scanner, because it kind of tells us how flexible, if I can say, like, that's like the best way I can say. If your liver is at normal flexibility, then it's healthy, right? But if your liver is not, if you do that scan and it's showing that it's decreased, then you might have some sort of damage, scarring that could be from that. It could be from many other things, right? But it could be from that. It's great to see that, like, now we can see the effects of all these GLP-1s in the secondary effects of things. So it's not just weight loss now. Now we're seeing like reversal of other things. So not just reversal of A1C or cholesterol. Now we're seeing like the liver disease and stuff like that.
Yeah. So what does the new research show? In a New England Journal of Medicine trial, semaglutide, quote unquote, fixed fatty liver and inflammation in over 60% of patients and dialed back scar tissue in about 1/3. The beautiful thing about the liver is that also it's like the only, I think it's the only organ that can regenerate in our bodies. Yeah. So that's not to say that it's a free meal, like go ahead and damage the thing because it'll come back. No, there's only a certain amount that can, that it could.
Yeah, it's not like if you take out like 3/4 of it, the other 3/4 is going to grow back.
No, yeah. There's only a certain amount until it can't regenerate anymore. But, it's working with that. So parallel studies in JAMA, Internal Medicine, and Nature Medicine found that GLP-1 users had slower disease progression, fewer cases of liver failure, and lower liver cancer risk. How these shots help the liver. So these drugs burn visceral fat everywhere, including the gooey layer wrapped around the liver, and tamp down the chronic inflammation fat cells trigger. With the pressure and inflammation reduced, healthy liver cells can rebound and existing scar tissue may loosen up. Why this could change everyday care? Well, there's no FDA green light yet, unfortunately. So GLP-1s aren't officially approved for fatty liver disease, but experts expect an application soon, obviously, because
Absolutely.
Look, I mean,
why wouldn't it?
I know. It's
Right.
just dumb.
Yeah, if some of insurances say that they will only cover it if you have like obstructive sleep apnea, it's how is this not just as equally bad as sleep apnea?
And if you're looking at it in money for insurers, it's going to cost you less to give the GLP-1 than to deal with liver problems, liver transplants and whatnot. Anyway, earlier intervention. So today's only MASH. So for this fatty liver disease drug, it's called
resmetirom.
And it's reserved only for advanced cases. So GLP-1s could move treatment upstream, giving family doctors a tool before cirrhosis, which is that end stage, sets in. Screening matters. It's because slightly off liver enzymes in someone with diabetes, high cholesterol, or extra weight may soon trigger a weight loss drug discussion, not just a diet handout. Now, the caveats to this: prices and supply remain hurdles. And not every patient with fatty liver is visibly overweight. Genetics and diet quality still play major roles in this. Large trials and FDA review will decide when and for who the insurers will pay. Just to take home for all of this is that the same weekly shot many people take to curb appetite might soon just double as a liver rescue plan as well, potentially stopping the most common liver disease before it turns into a transplant conversation.
Yep.
If you've been told that you have fatty liver, or potentially you're already there or about to get there, the blood work will tell you. Ask your doctor whether the GLP-1 wave could be part of your treatment horizon. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So FDA okays the first blood test that can help diagnose Alzheimer's disease. Woo, finally, FDA approval for that.
Yeah.
So this is by Matthew Perrone on May 16, 2025, and this was on AP News. The FDA has okayed a quick blood test from Fujirebio Diagnostics that detects the beta amyloid gunk linked to Alzheimer's disease in people 55 plus who are already noticing memory slips. Until now, confirming those plaques meant either an invasive spinal tap or a jaw-dropping price PET scan. Now, why is this a big leap? the speed and comfort. Only a routine draw at the clinic, which beats the needles in the spine and hours in the scanner. Now the cost, a few $100s versus the several thousand that you might need for a PET scan. And then also the treatment getaway, new drugs such as Leqembi and Kisunla can slow Alzheimer's, but only if a lab proves the beta amyloid present. What does that mean? Insurance is not going to cover that unless you can prove that you have Alzheimer's, and before we weren't really able to do that, right?
Yeah.
The blood test hands doctors that proof in days, and it doesn't take weeks. Who should and shouldn't get it? For patients 55 and over, with early memory or thinking problems, it could be ordered by a physician. This is not for curious, symptom-free folks that isn't sure and crystal ball. And like also, if I get that, right, I don't have any memory problems, and I get that, and it comes back positive. Like, what am I gonna do with that? You know, like I'm just gonna live in fear until I start forgetting things. That's crazy, right? So this is why I always...
I know this takes you right back to that conversation.
Yes, that when people are just like, I want all the blood work. And I'm like, well, for what? Like,
Yeah.
what's the problem? Why do you need to test things for what's the problem?
You and Mario are the same with that, yeah.
Yes. And it's, for me, it's just like, I want to know. I want to know. But what do you want to know? Like,
Yeah.
do you want to know if you're anemic? Do you want to know, anything, right? So anyways, okay.
Yeah.
So things to keep in mind, a positive still isn't a whole story. You need to have symptoms, right? Like there's a reason why we order labs,
Yeah.
okay? We don't just order labs for no reason. I'm looking
people
for
think so.
something when I'm ordering labs. Doctors will run a cognitive exam and sometimes scan before even labeling anyone with Alzheimer's. The rival blood test from Roche, Eli Lilly, and C2N are racing through the FDA reviews as well. Prices and accuracy will likely keep improving. Now, more screening could strain already crowded infusion clinics. This is basically, it's just gonna need like must monitoring to like patients and new anti-amyloid drugs. Now, the take home is gonna be sorting, right? Sorting ordinary forgetfulness from Alzheimer's no longer demands high-tech hospital gear. In a single blood draw, you can now pretty much confirm if you have that or not. In today's disease-slowing treatments, basically, you can give families a crucial head start against that memory loss. But again, it's not just like if you're not having any symptoms and you test positive that you need to start treatment right away, right? That's not gonna be it.
It's not going to be it. All right, this was another one that was everywhere recently, at least for me, in my feed. Proximity to golf courses and risk of Parkinson's disease.
I sent you this, right?
You sent me this too. Yeah, I had seen it everywhere, and then you sent it to me. I'm like, and I was walking in a golf course. I'm like,
You do walk by the golf course. Get away from that.
I was like, the fuck.
Well, no. So this is really, really crazy because there's
Yeah.
already been a lot of lawsuits already with the turf, right? In soccer fields.
So there
Right.
we go.
And this is like known. You can look this up. There's a ton of lawsuits because of the turf and the chemicals used in turfs that could lead to certain diseases. And a lot of these things were actually linked to cancers. And now they're linking it to neurodegenerative diseases.
Yep.
So it is crazy. I always wanted turf.
Yeah.
Well, you guys want turf, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, but we treat it with like simple green and stuff like that. Like we choose what we treat it with. You know?
Oh, okay.
Unlike
good.
here and like golf courses or whatever, they're gonna treat it with whatever the hell.
Whatever the
like
hell,
here, I'm treating it with. I have dogs.
But I thought it was the material. Is it not the material?
Well, let's look into it.
Okay. Let's look into
So,
it.
by Brittany.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Hold on. Krzyzewski?
What she said. PhD.
Yes. Brittany K.
Brittany K. PhD. Aiden F. Mullen, M.A.E. Ray Dorsey, MD, and all their friends. On May 8th, 2025, on JAMA. A new JAMA network open study for more than 5,500 Minnesotans. People from Minnesota found that people living within 1 mile of a golf course had a 126% higher chance of developing Parkinson's disease over those more than 6 miles away.
Yeah.
126%. Okay, I need to change my...
And also, people are retired. They retire to golf courses.
A lot of golf courses, and they play more golf
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Yeah. So the odds stayed elevated out to about 3 miles and dropped progressively within distance. What the researchers actually did to figure this out. So they mapped the home address of 419 Parkinson's cases diagnosed between 1991 and 2015, and 5,113 matched controls. Calculated everyone's straight line distance to the nearest golf course and noted whether their tap water came from a water service area that contained a course. Adjusted for age, sex, income, and neighborhood factors. The result, living in a water district that includes a golf course nearly doubled Parkinson's odds versus districts without one. And the link was strongest where groundwater is prone to pesticide seepage. So why golf courses raise eyebrows? Fairways are often drenched in fungicides, herbicides, and insecticides, times more intensely than farms. These chemicals can leach into the groundwater or drift in the air, offering two routes to the brain cells most vulnerable in Parkinson's. What are the important cautions that you can maybe take? The study shows an association, not proof of causation. Lifestyle differences and unmeasured pollutants could still be players in this.
Yeah.
Data came from one predominantly white county. Results may not copy and paste to every community. Researchers used 2013 golf course maps as a proxy for long-term exposure, which can blur the picture a little bit. Now, the take home of all of this, because now I'm kind of like, I only live like 4 miles away, and I'm now like, oh crap. Anyway, so if your dream home hugs the back of the nine, consider a reality check. Test the well or tap water.
Yeah.
Ask your local officials
But
about.
you don't have well water here.
No, we don't use
Yeah.
it for drinking. Yeah, but then you think about the seepage, and then you go down a fucking spiral. And anyway, ask local officials about pesticide rules and lobby courses to adopt low toxic turf care.
Yeah.
Which I will look into actually. The link isn't ironclad yet, but it's strong enough to tee up a closer look at what's sprayed in these immaculate looking beautiful greens.
Yeah, no. Ever since the soccer players, and when this came out, I'm like,
So you see, it's not the material, it's what they use on it.
let me see. Maybe the soccer one is something different. Maybe. Some initial concerns arose about the potential link between artificial turf and cancer, particularly soccer players. The research is not known for yes.
Infill, so
You see,
synthetic
it's the synthetic turf infill.
Unfortunately, we ran into some technical problems for the end of this episode. So if you're watching on YouTube, the video quality is going to be not great for the ending of this. Hence why thank you so much to our secret sponsor for getting us the actual camera we needed this whole time. We're hoping this never happens again, and we apologize, but here's the ending of the episode. Thanks so much. Let's see.
It's like the not the actual pelitos. It's like the rubber bottom that they're like it's you see that cushions the ground.
Maybe because of the soccer, you need to have
Some different turf. Yeah, I don't know. I know that one was because of like the
sucks.
material, that rubber.
Exactly.
Well, and then that's why people are saying now that what is this rubber for playgrounds?
Oh yeah, right. It's like the recycled one.
The recycled one that they're saying that's now toxic as well.
Christ.
Yeah, so people are now going back to mulch. Yeah. But anyways,
can never get anything right these days.
I mean, it's not that. I don't think that people do it like
No, you
in
don't.
the wrong.
You're
It's just that
thinking-
we don't know until long term.
Exactly, and you're thinking you're doing something good because like you're using recycled, material for something that's like
I'm almost
spongy
positive
and,
that like my nails at some point in the future,
man,
like
no.
30 years, something's gonna happen that they're gonna
same.
for sure.
I mean, the material that I used to glue these babies on is
Yeah,
probably
for sure.
horrific.
The lights, something's gonna happen. I don't know.
Oh well,
I don't know.
Mario's always with that.
Yeah,
Mario's
yeah.
always like, you're putting UV.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I literally before I go do my nails, I just put a little bit of sunscreen, and
that's smart.
yeah. I just
At least you're trying.
yeah. I mean, they take off a little bit, but at least I'm trying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Literally, I feel like we're all gonna look young, but our hands are gonna look like
I've been putting sunscreen on my hands now.
Yeah.
Whatever
is left over.
I just go like this.
Yeah, same
And
girl.
the same thing for
I
my-
see to buy myself some gloves to drive. Like, straight up. I'm not going. I'm not crazy.
Or
I'm not
some people
crazy.
tint their front thing.
The shield. Yeah. No.
Like, they
'cause I
actually-
spend so much time driving.
No, yeah, you really do.
I am like highly
You really
considering
do.
gloves.
I just soak out, put up.
Okay.
I'm not touching it. We're just leaving it right there because the light was. That's fine. Anyway.
Anyways.
All right.
this
Spicy
is my-
one. I'm glad that you're reading this one.
Is sex good for your brain? I'm gonna vote yes, but this is what the neuroscientists think. Okay, so this was by Pippa Delights. I love that name.
It goes great with
Wow,
this.
Pippa Delights. Okay, Delight. Oh, Delisle. I'm sorry, I can't read, guys. I don't have.
But that was perfect. I wish
don't
it was
have-
Delight.
yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Delisles. I actually really
Delisles.
love that name, Pippa Delisles. Anyways,
just
sorry,
rolls with the
I don't have
tongue.
my glasses on. You guys know my story. I don't wear my glasses, so I thought it was a T. Anyways, so this is by Pippa Delisles on February 22nd, and this was on the Times. Okay,
Yeah. It just
So-
like I know this one was like not May, but it kept on popping up now for some reason on my feed. Like more people have found out about it now or something. I don't know, whatever.
Anyways,
guys.
neuroscientist Nicole Vignola argues that sex isn't just fun, it's a cognitive fireworks show.
All right.
Yes, I love that. Cognitive fireworks show. Seriously. During arousals and orgasms, more than 30 brain systems fire all at once, from touch and reward and circulatory to memory hubs. MRI scans even catch this whole entire firework extravaganza, and something no other than everyday activities matches, basically. So that's crazy. What? MRI? What? I don't
You haven't
understand.
seen this?
No, I don't. What? Like, people are in an MRI while all
Yeah.
this is happening?
Yeah. So they can see what happens in the brain as you.
You can't even move in an MRI.
Well, I guess I figured it out.
Anyways, brain boosting chemistry in action.
Maybe it's not with two people. Maybe it's by yourself, so you're not moving much.
Yeah, I don't know, girl.
You know,
I mean,
the point is like to see an orgasm happening in the brain.
yeah.
And
No, I mean, there's people that literally have that without any other person.
no, that's true.
So
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So maybe it's one of those.
maybe they're
situations.
studying these people. Yeah, I don't know. This is crazy. Medicine is crazy in
Yeah.
all aspects.
Yeah.
From the most boring to the most, firework extravaganza. So, brain boosting chemistry. This I actually do believe because the dopamine
it
rush, the
makes sense.
serotonin, it makes sense. Okay, so dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin surge with a kiss or a caress is kind of cranking up the motivation, the mood, the social bonding. And then oxytocin also primes neuroplasticity in the brain, which is reshaping its ability, that neuroplasticity. So it also helps us store new memories. And then that climax is the same as like fertilizer. What? I don't.
Yeah, it triggers BDNF, so it's like what helps your neurons like release. It's like this transmitter.
Okay, so orgasms, or climaxing is going to trigger this BDNF, all right, like Julie said.
Yeah.
So this protein that your neurons kind of release, same ones that you release out like after a workout or an intense learning session. You
feel good.
Yeah, you feel good like after.
Like
Yes,
that
like those
thing-
endorphins.
Exactly,
Yeah.
like that endorphin rush, like sometimes you get when you run or
Yeah,
whatever.
there's gonna be like sharper thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. That's pretty much it.
So now evidence across the age ladder. In adults 62 to 74, a higher sexual satisfaction is linked to stronger cognitive test scores, while those 75 plus showed a tie between more frequent sex or better brain performance. Interesting. So for women 18 to 29, more sex correlates with better word recall. What word recall? You're 18.
Well,
You need why are you what are you not recalling?
I don't know. I don't know.
Hinting that the hippocampal rewiring may scale with bedroom frequency. And then men and women alike see testosterone bumps after intercourse, and an optimal T level as in testosterone levels are tied to improved focus and mental clarity. All right, stress off, memory on. So pleasurable intimacy dials down the cortisol and quiets the brain's stress center in the amygdala. The post-coital calm plus a cocktail of endorphins and vasopressin can actually reinforce emotional bonds and act like a buffer against chronic worry.
It's like that
Interesting.
cuddling time after.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm just waiting. Oh my goodness, many things. Practical takeaways for listeners: consensual, enjoyable intercourse, aiming for about once a week if that feels right. Could combine cardio, meditation, and chemistry set of a feel-good molecule in one session. Okay? So it's no magic that an IQ pill, but it's not going to make you like smarter or anything like that. But the data suggests that it might actually improve your mood, your memory, and overall brain resilience. As always, quality beats quantity and safe, stress-free encounters that are actual like real mental health wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that there should be like anything like crazy. I feel like when people talk about sex, it's like, oh my God, you know, it's just this is like a human thing. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And it brings on these endorphins. So obviously you're going to feel like more positive, right?
Yep.
So it's not, I'm pretty sure you're not going to have the same endorphin runs for something that you don't want to do, God forbid, right?
Exactly.
So, you know, I feel like this
makes
sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway, so in more fun news, not life-threatening bacteria found in invasive tick for the first time in the U.S. And this is now.
Oh, ehrlichiosis. I haven't seen this in a while.
Yeah, it's not good. This reminded me of Newman. Newman has ehrlichiosis.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He got hospitalized a couple of years back. I don't know if you remember, and it was because of that. We almost lost him. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
So this was on May 29, 2025 on the Economic Times. Connecticut scientists just confirmed that an invasive Asian longhorned tick can harbor that and say the rest.
Ehrlichiosis.
What's that?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Schifinensis is like the whole entire like bacterial name, but also known as just ehrlichiosis.
So that it was found in this longhorn tick. Until now, this ehrlichiosis was almost exclusively linked to the Lone Star tick.
Yeah.
Spotting it in the fast-spreading newcomer widens the bullseye for anyone outdoors in the eastern U.S. Why experts are on alert? Well, because rapid range expansion of this freaking longhorn tick, and they clone themselves. No males are needed for these freaking ticks.
I'm just gonna look at the longhorn tick. I know what the Lone Star tick looks like.
Populations explode quickly because they just clone themselves. It's disgusting. Since first appearing in 2017, they've reached 20 plus states and count dozens of host species.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're gross.
Whoa.
Yeah. From deer to backyard pets.
Interesting. Oh my God. It's like if a cucaracha had a baby tick.
What? It's just, all ticks are disgusting to me. They're one of the most vile, disgusting things out there for me.
Interesting.
Ugh. I have goosebumps right now. Anyway, what's the worst case scenario for this disease? It starts like a summer flu. So you got high fevers, you got chills, fatigue, but it could snowball into kidney failure, breathing problems, and yes, even death without proper doxycycline. Early diagnosis is tricky because blood tests often lag behind the symptoms. What can we all do about this? Spray. Okay, if you're gonna go out there, even if not, if you're going to your backyard, and just spray. Use EPA-approved repellents such as DEET or
Picaridin.
And tuck pants into socks during hikes or yard work. Shower and check within 2 hours of coming inside because longhorn ticks are small and like the scalp and behind the knee like little hideouts. Yeah. Protect pets and livestock. This is very important because if you don't check those pets and they come in the house, then there you go. Ask pets about preventatives. So like ticks, all those little goticas, like drops. Little drops
or
and
like
stuff
oral
like that.
meds.
Yes, exactly. Our pups have the oral meds. That's like a 3-in-1 situation. So they do exist, guys. The tick feeds aggressively on animals and can hitchhike indoors, like I said. And then save the culprit if you find one. And if it's bitten, it bit either you or your dog or cat, whatever it is, place the tick in a sealed bag and date with the date and the location because it's helpful if some sort of sickness happens later. What's the bottom line of this? A pathogen once tied to a single southern tick now has a second, self-cloning on top of everything, carrier marching up the Atlantic seaboard. Smart prevention and quick medical care after feverish symptoms remain the best defense.
I am so afraid of ticks.
Did I ever tell you the tick story that I had?
No.
I'm here. We were in Colorado for a wedding years ago, like more than 6 because Amar wasn't even born. We were there for a wedding, and then our freaking urban, not suburban, not hiking selves, especially back then, we're like, yeah, let's go for a hike. It's Colorado. Let's look at the mountains. Let's go for a hike. Oh my God, this is great. We're going for the hike. One, Colorado's already elevated.
Yeah.
You gotta adjust for that.
Adjust for
Us,
that, yeah.
like, very sea-dwelling people that are like in zero freaking elevation. Anyway, so we're going, beautiful hike. Incredible. Colorado's beautiful. And my dumbass is like with a little purse or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, pine cones. I'm gonna take some pine cones home as a souvenir.
They live in Pine Cone.
I'm getting back in a rental car and I'm like looking for, I think I was looking for the keys for the rental car. And then I'm like, oh wait, I think it's like behind the pine cone. I grab the pine cone and coming out of it like that is a giant tick. The way that I freaked out was like how you freaked out earlier in this episode.
For sure.
I was already self-diagnosing myself with Lyme's disease. I was already 0 to 1,000. I was like, this thing was in my pouch for the whole entire freaking hike.
Yeah.
And then it was just there. Of course, the purse got like just everywhere.
Yeah.
Mario was like, what's wrong with you? There was a tick. Did you get bit? I don't know. I couldn't, I wasn't even checking myself at that point. I was like,
You were in the hospital already.
I was in the hospital. It was disgusting. It was a massive thing like that. Well, I've never touched a pine cone since.
Yeah, I was gonna say they live in pine trees.
I had no idea.
Yeah, not so wherever you hike, if you see a lot of pine trees, there's a lot of ticks inside pine trees and in pine cones. So actually, anytime that I like to pick up a pine cone, I like check it to make sure that
I
I
don't even bother anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even bother anymore. I'm never picking up a pine cone again. I loved pine cones until that very moment. Now I just buy them, like just Amazon them or something for decoration.
So
if I
we're
need it.
going now to the Catskills, right?
Okay.
And we want to go out and enjoy like the mountains, do hiking and stuff like that. And it's on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So I am dying on the
When are you
inside.
going?
In July. We're going for July 4th.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
my God.
I'm like dying. So I'm doing all of this. And just so you guys know, the reason why they say check within 2 hours is because technically, let's just say you find a tick on you, but they're not engorged. Then that tells us that they probably haven't been on you, latched onto you for a very long time. An engorged tick likely means that it's been on you for a while. I know it sounds nasty, but it actually is helpful in knowing. So, you know, also just the way of removing ticks is there's a special science to it too.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just yank it off because then you can leave like the head on there. It's crazy, guys. But always get a tweezer all the way at the base, Try to get the head and then yank out perpendicular, not at an angle or anything, literally up and away. And also check within those first hours because if there's a disease, it's going to be transmissible within that window.
I hate ticks. I hate ticks. I hate them so much.
Well, no, I mean, I can't imagine.
Oh,
but it's
my
funny because
God.
when we went the last time to the Catskills, I was checking myself and I was like, Mom, check me. Check my whole entire body.
Oh my God. Well, that day, like, I went to sleep, and that was in the morning, and I went to sleep still thinking, after showering, Mario tracked me, like, from head to toe.
Yeah.
Of course, he even my
People
hair.
people find ticks like 3-4 days later.
Yeah, and you have no idea that it's even on you.
Yeah.
Fuckers. I hate them. I despise ticks. Like, I really...
It's like me and roaches. I'm like,
Oh, because they're so
nasty.
They're disgusting. They carry disease, and then they're on you, and you don't even know. Ugh.
Are you okay? Do you need a moment?
I can't. And like, how is something going to be on me that has 6 legs and is sucking my blood, and I don't know that it's on me? That is disgusting. Disgusting.
It's kind of like a parasite.
It is. It's disgusting.
But you like parasites.
No, I don't like them. It's just like they're interesting. This has 6 legs.
I've never seen her so emotional about an insect.
Blood sucking 6. Okay,
Blood sucking.
Ugh, I hate spiders because
me too.
there's no reason why an animal has to have 8 legs.
8 legs, yeah.
And that many eyes. There's no reason.
Well, I always say if it has more than 2 legs, I don't like it. No, more than 4 legs, I don't like it.
There's no need.
Yeah.
There's 8.
Yeah.
And then all those eyes.
Oh,
Like, what is that?
Oh my
Like
goodness.
that's a hell creature. That's a hell creature. Okay, that came from like that portal from Stranger Things. That's what it is. And unfortunately, it landed here on Earth. It's in our timeline, and we're stuck with spiders now. Okay, that's just our reality. Then you have
six-legged fuckers like ticks that also now suck your blood as well, okay? And you don't even know that they're on you
Yeah.
for days. And then they give you these weird-ass diseases that you'll die from.
Does anyone else have like really bad fear? Because that's my fear with roaches. I couldn't even watch the Despicable Me, the Minion movie.
What's wrong with there was a roach?
Because it was like the bad guy. He was like a roach.
I haven't seen the movie, that's why.
Oh, I couldn't watch it.
Really?
No, I couldn't watch it.
How about Wally?
There's a little roach in Wally. I couldn't watch it. I remember that roach. He's looking for it.
It's a little baby roach.
No, fuck that.
He's cute.
No,
That's the only cute
I want
insect I have ever seen. And of course,
never
Disney does it.
in my life will a roach be cute.
Okay.
Ever. No,
No.
I saw it. I remember it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah. All right. Popular over-the-counter drugs that have been tied to cancer.
I just included
Okay.
this last night.
All right. This is by Julia.
Not me.
Not you. Julia Musto on May 29th. Okay. And this was published on The Independent. So a UTI pain pill on the hot seat. All right. Cancer warnings for phenazopyridine. This is just, I call it the orange pill because it makes your pee orange.
Yeah, but it does.
Pyridium.
But it
Yeah.
freaking works, man.
Yeah, no, it does. It really does work. Millions that grab over-the-counter tablets like Azos or Urostat to blunt the burn of urinary tract infections. However, the active ingredient, the phenazopyridine, yeah, it takes me a while to say it too. Phenazopyridine hydrochloride now carries a stark caution. Long-term use can cause tumors in labs and animals, and labels in California lists it as a carcinogen. So the drug has never been formally approved by the FDA, yet it's still been on US shelves for decades as less than $15 a box. And it works.
It freaking works.
If
It's
anyone
night
feels,
and day.
yeah, if anyone feels like that burning sensation, it's awful in a UTI, and just like the discomfort out of it, and that literally just takes it away.
It's incredible.
I know.
It's incredible. That's why
But
when I
it
saw this,
turns
I'm like,
your pee like highlighter orange.
oh yeah. I don't
Yeah.
stain anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I've only had a UTI once, and that was horrific pain
Yeah,
because I
it's
hadn't
terrible.
taken Azo. I hadn't taken this yet, and I was like, "What is this? What is this?" The moment that I took that, I was
You know
feeling
that we
again.
don't recommend it for kids.
Well, I mean, it makes sense now. Yeah,
Never.
that's crazy.
Antibiotics, and that's it.
Huh? Damn.
Antibiotics.
Sucks because by the time that an antibiotic actually kicks
Well,
in,
no. So in your sorry, why am I like stuttering? I can't say your sentence. In the urinary tract infections, antibiotic is actually the antibiotics that we use need to have good renal clearance, right? Right, because it needs to take effect in there. So if a person actually takes an antibiotic 8 hours before you do a urine culture, it's going to be negative. That's how fast the antibiotics will work for a UTI. It has to be that the bug that you have is resistant to the antibiotic.
that's
for
what
you.
happened to me.
But usually after maybe 24 to 48 hours, most of my patients already stop having
That's
symptoms.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome. Because recently, even Mario saw it in the ER. Apparently, there's been like a very drug resistant UTI with like E. coli or whatever, and it was. That's probably what I had because I don't know how many antibiotics I had to take, and I was on Azo for like weeks.
Oh my goodness.
It was awful. Awful.
Anyway, so key points to report: no human proof, but no rigorous studies either. Okay, experts say that epidemiological data are inadequate to kind of rule out the cancer link. So it's not like a total yes and it's not a total no either. Now, the animal red flags: the rats developed large intestine cancers and mice liver tumors during chronic dosing, long-term use of dosing, or maybe for people, in this case, people that have chronic UTIs. Okay. So hidden hazards is besides turning your urine orange, phenazopyridine can mask serious infections, slow breathing, and upset your stomach. In rare cases, also trigger life-threatening methemoglobinemia, which is it's a little complicated, but basically your blood cannot carry oxygen how it usually carries oxygen. Industries push back. Even some clinicians admit that they were unaware of the carcinogen. I was not, but I haven't used that in a very long time because in pediatrics, it's not recommended.
Yeah.
But I myself have taken it. So
Same.
while safety advocates argue that there's no need for this drug given safer UTI treatments, yes. And I do understand if you probably take your antibiotics, if you're on the right antibiotic, again, if you're on the right antibiotic, it'll probably go away quickly. However, it's so uncomfortable. That burning is terrible.
For me, it was beyond uncomfortable. For me, it was
Pain, yeah.
like,
No,
it
it's
was just
terrible.
like,
you don't even want to pee because of how painful it is.
yeah.
So why it matters is because roughly 60% of women will battle at least one UTI, and phenazopyridine products promise relief in just 20 minutes. So until definitive human studies surface, weighing like the quick symptom relief with the potential side effects, you'll probably have to consider that. However, like for you, okay, that you had this UTI for forever, then I would have probably taken that too.
Honestly, there was nothing else that I could do. I was like, wait, and you know what was weird? That the NP, when I saw her like this pain that I was like crying in her office, she's like, honestly, you probably won't feel the effects of this antibiotic until 48 hours later.
Oh no.
Is what she told me. So it's, I don't know.
No, I mean, if literally it's just 8 hours. 8 hours from starting an antibiotic that is the correct antibiotic, you'll see a negative urine culture.
It's freaking weird.
Now again, like the antibiotic itself is not going to take away the discomfort, okay? It's only targeting the infection. Right? But obviously the lesser the infection, the lesser the inflammation. So yeah, no, your symptoms are not going to resolve within a little bit. But I mean, it's a lot of symptoms. The burning is terrible.
It's really bad. Anybody that's had a UTI out there, you know what we're talking about. It's just, oof. Anyway. So that was it. This ended up being a two-parter. I didn't think it was going to be, but it was. And I mean, there were a lot of good topics to cover.
So much
this
discussion.
I know, like all over the place.
Yeah.
So many like different things we
Yes.
talked about. Yeah. Anyways, if we missed one or you want to hear us talk about one of these in particular, let us know in any form of social media. Thank you guys for supporting us there as always. If you are not very keen into social media, then check us out or send us anything through funnymedicine305@gmail.com. We are on all forms of social media as Funny Medicine Podcast, except on X, we're Funny Med Podcasts. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.